Okay, so I'll say welcome again, so we can get it on there. So I'm Kim Blosser, president here at the college. I'm glad to have you all with us. Happy to answer questions that students might have, but thought I'd share just a few things, just so that students can get a little sense of what's going on at the college and what they might anticipate in the next semester. I don't know if our students that are on the call today are graduating or not, but we'll talk about just a couple of things that are going to be happening. So to start with, goodness knows we are already over halfway through this semester, which seems just crazy. So if you are a graduate, congratulations, you are almost there. You have just a few more weeks to go before you'll be walking across the stage. And we're very excited this year to be able to have a more traditional commencement ceremony. We are, every decision you make about commencement, there's some good and there's some bad. I mean, it's the happiest day of the year for us just to see all the families, but where to hold it is always a little bit of a challenge because we don't have an indoor facility large enough to hold everyone. And so we are rolling the dice this year, and we are going to have an outdoor commencement ceremony. We will be holding 2 of those, one for health professions on Friday, May 13th, and then one for all other students on Saturday, the 14th, which is the day we normally hold those. And in the past, if you weren't aware, we have held those at a high school in Front Royal. But after having the drive-through commencements last year, folks really enjoyed having them on campus. We aren't able to do it. As I said, there's positives and negatives. Unfortunately, we have to do both of these at our Middletown campus, which is a little bit harder, obviously, for our fall year students. But as a result of, there is just entirely too much construction going on, which is a good problem to have at our Fauquier campus right now. But we would really struggle having a commencement ceremony there this year. But we are holding those this year in person, and we're very excited, and families will be able to attend, and graduates will walk across the stage. So we're looking forward to it, hoping for very good weather those days. Speaking of the construction at our Fauquier campus, it's very exciting. We have a little bit of construction at Middletown with an addition to a building, but Fauquier is seeing a lot of construction with our new Hazel Hall building. So if you're a Fauquier student and you're going to be taking classes next fall, you will have an opportunity, depending on your schedule, to have classes in the new Hazel Hall building, which is going to be lovely. I've been on tours there the last 2 Fridays. Changes every Friday, but they will be finished in June. They're on schedule to be finished. And so we will be moving in and having classes there in the fall semester. So that building will have our health professions classrooms and labs will be moving there. Our science, if you need to take a science class, our chemistry and biology and physics classes will be in that new building. Engineering will be in that building. It's sort of a STEM type of a building. So we also have 2 general purpose classrooms in there, and a student lounge and a conference room. So there's lots of stuff that will be in there. So even if you don't have classes, walk through and look at the new building. It's going to be lovely and give us so much more space at our Fauquier campus. And then after that, you will start seeing another building go up at the back of the parking lot at our Fauquier campus. We're going to be building a trades building. And so we expect by the time students come back in the fall, they will be seeing that construction happening at our Fauquier campus. So lots of exciting things happening, lots of growth as far as our buildings, which lets us add new programs, which is very exciting. We are also, again, if you're not a graduating student, if you're coming back, you're going to notice some changes. We will be Laurel Ridge Community College starting June the 2nd. We've already been making the transition. You've probably seen on the website and different places that it says Lord Fairfax Community College becoming Laurel Ridge. So we went through a process, and the State Board for Community Colleges voted last summer to move forward with a name. Well, they started the process and then voted to move forward with a name change. And so we've been undertaking that for the last several months. but there has to be a date. So the students that are finishing and graduating this semester will graduate with Lord Fairfax on their diploma, and then starting with the graduates after this spring semester, and students that are going to be coming next year, new students, they'll come in under the Laurel Ridge Community College name. There is also, if you come to the Middletown campus, you'll notice that as part of that naming, what we were required to do is look at every name on every building. So if you go to the Fauquier campus, you see Wall Call. If you're on the Middletown campus, you see Fairfax Hall, or you see various names either on rooms or on buildings themselves. Luray has Jenkins Hall. So in all the cases, whether it was a room name or whether it's a building name, all of those had to be reviewed as part of the overall looking at the college name and everything else that had a name associated with it. And so the other name that changed was Fairfax Hall. So you are going to see, if you look at your class schedule, if you're taking classes at Middletown, you may see that name Cornerstone Hall. That's the new name for Fairfax Hall, where the Welcome Center is, where admissions, where advising, where the financial aid office, the business office, all those are in what was Fairfax Hall, which will now be known as Cornerstone Hall. So if you're in the transition, you'll just notice that when you look at your class schedule, if you're taking classes at the Middletown campus. Wanted to make sure you do know there is a lot of funding for students available. Not only filling out your FAFSA, which I hope that everyone fills out a FAFSA, because you just never know what you might be eligible for, but there is more and more state aid. There is more scholarships. Some scholarships are need-based, some are not need-based. We have a lot of funding to help students to take classes if funding is an issue. And even if you don't think it's an issue, you may be eligible for a scholarship. So why pay it if you could get a scholarship? So we encourage students all the time, please fill out the scholarship application. It is a very short, very easy application to fill out. And it's only one application for every scholarship we have. And so it's an easy thing to do. I encourage you, please fill that out. Obviously, unless you're graduating, and see if there is some funding that might be available to help you with the cost of gas. It would help you if you could get a scholarship in some way. So encourage you all, encourage your friends, please spread the word to fill out that so we can see if we can help you. The other thing we're working on, and our academic folks and our student success folks are all looking at, the class schedule obviously is going to be live for summer and for fall. And one thing that we've looked at is making sure we have a combination of on-site classes, making sure that we have plenty of those to meet the needs of students who want to be coming on site, and then also our online classes. And then in addition is looking how those are scheduled so we can make it more efficient, more effective for students, so that you're not having breaks between a lot of the classes if you're in a particular program. Making sure there's not conflicts between classes that you need in a particular program. And so I know that our folks have been really working on how to make that schedule more efficient to get students through and make sure they don't have conflicts in their schedule. And so if you see those, I encourage you to reach out to your advisor and just let your advisor know if you're seeing in your program that there are any issues. We want to know that, because that's something we're consciously looking at to see if we can make sure we resolve those for students. I encourage you, anytime you have questions, please reach out to your advisor, reach out to someone at one of our campuses, walk into our student success centers. If you have questions about anything that we can help you with, you can do just the chat on the website. If you have something, so many times I know students will have a question, but they don't know exactly who to ask, so they don't ask anyone, or they ask a friend. And sometimes maybe the friend doesn't have the exact information that you need. So use the chat feature. The chat feature will get you to who you need to get the information from if that person doesn't know. But that's what we want you to do. If you have any questions at all, please let us help you. or again, you can reach out to your advisor as well. They can point you in the right direction. I think that was my main things to tell you a little bit about. If you have not seen the emails, we are very happy. Well, I have just a couple more things, but I'm very happy that we now have access to mental health services for our students. There's been a lot that's been coming out. I hope that you've seen those that let you for free access online through telemedicine, access to counseling services, access to someone that can help you if any student has an issue that they need to talk with someone about. It's the first time we've been able to have that for our students, and we are thrilled that we do have it. Everybody at some point needs to talk to somebody, and this is just a way that you can do that whenever it works for you and the privacy of your own home without having to come to campus for that. And so we hope students that feel like they need that are utilizing that service. It's there for you. And so we want students to be able to do that. We know from current student surveys that we see students say they're feeling, they're feeling stress, they're feeling anxiety about, and there's no wonder considering you're in school, you have, I'm sure, other life circumstances that cause stress in your life. There's a lot going on in the world on any given day, gas prices. I mean, there's just lots of things that can create some stress. And just being in college and getting towards the end of a semester and exams and all that creates some. So use that service if you need to talk to someone. That's why it's there. We will be hearing about tuition for next year. For the last couple of years, last 3 years, we've been fortunate not to have any tuition increases. We will see. That comes through. The way that works is our state board for community colleges sets tuition for the entire Virginia community college system. That doesn't happen until after the state passes a budget. And since the state hasn't done that yet, they're coming back for a special session the first week of April to start looking at that. Once we have a budget, then the state board moves forward with looking at how that impacts the budget overall and whether we need to increase tuition or not. But we are hopeful that we will not have a tuition increase. If we do, it will likely be a very small tuition increase if that happens for next year. But you'll be hearing about that generally in May is when students will hear, and we will find out. Same time, pretty much you find out whether or not there will be any increases for the next year, which again is why it's important to reach out and see what financial aid resources might be available for you so that we can help you if that's a concern. So I think those are the things I wanted to talk to you, wanted to just share with you, but I certainly want to just open it up for any questions. And certainly Caroline is on. She is our expert on student success initiatives and things that are going on. If if there are any questions related to those, and our vice president for facilities is if you have questions about facilities or anything. So we're happy to answer any questions. I don't know if you want to put them in the chat. You want to just unmute and ask any questions you might have, or you can ask for a friend, however you would like. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. Or Chris, if anyone's shared anything with you. Caroline, if you've heard anything from students in your circles that might be a question we should talk about.
Well, certainly, since we're here, I'll talk. So President Blosser mentioned the telemental health, which we encourage definitely you to sign up for. That is free to you. And also you don't have to seek counseling. And also the 24 Talk Now, which is, it does not have to be a crisis. It might just be you're having a bad day. It's okay to just, that's what that's for, just to talk to someone and get to a better space. So we really encourage students to use that. We also have a lot of resources for our food pantry. I know a lot of folks are struggling with some food insecurity, and we know gas prices are really high right now. We do have resources to help folks books, pay for gas, and student support. So all you have to do is once you fill out the scholarship, we have emergency assistance. It's a secondary application after that. If you fill that out, we actually have, because of our telemental health this year, we have a little extra money because we have a grant that is to help students, and we often use that money to pay for counseling. But since we have the telemental health, we're not using as much for counseling. So we can pay for things like gas or even rent assistance or anything, that a car repair, things like that. We do have assistance available to students. And we also have an office, it's called Single Stop, where you can fill out a profile and find out what resources, federal resources you might be available to you, whether it be SNAP or another federal resource. And the great thing about that is, even if you don't have federal resources available to you, you're working with our folks in our Single Stop office. There are lots of regional and state resources available to people that you would have no idea. There are so many resources out there. Our challenge is getting people connected to those resources. So if you or anyone you know is struggling, they can come to me, they can come to our Dean of Students, they can come to Chris Lambert or our Single Stop office, and we will, I promise you, find you resources, because there are a lot out there.
Sorry, I was looking, I have a bunch of questions that I've gotten from students, and I had them compiled in an email and I couldn't find it. So I found it. Okay, so this is probably a Craig question. I keep getting students asking about vending in Fairfax. Is there going to be any vending that might come over to the student union again, since Subway is not coming back?
Thinking about that. I don't know if we actually have vending machines that are slated to come over there or not. Right now, as you know, as you just mentioned, all we've got right now is Fairfax, and I think we've got them in another building.
SHP,
SHP.
Science and Health Professions.
Yeah, but right now we don't have any plans for that. We're talking to a couple of people who have interest in putting something in that back in the student union, and we're talking to Follett about adding some sort of snack food lines. Right now, they've basically just got Red Bull, which isn't really, it's sort of a very specific line of consumables for food. But we're talking to them about increasing their snack line. But we don't really have anything planned in the moment, just because the market won't support another Subway or something like that. It's just not a sustainable marketplace right now. It's hard for, even in off campus, it's hard for those companies to get established. But so I don't have a real good answer for that right now, other than we're pursuing every avenue we can to get some sort of a replacement like that. And of course, Chris, you've been doing a great job actually, of pulling in food trucks and that sort of thing. And I know a lot of people have appreciated that, but right now we're sort of making it up as we go along on that front, in terms of anything outside of the kiosk that we have in Fairfax Hall. Now, if there's stuff that people want in Fairfax Hall, I would encourage them to reach out and tell us, and we can add that. We can have the vendor add that to their line of stuff. You know, if there's a particular brand or candy bar or whatever that people want to see in there, that they let us know, the vendor is open to adding those sorts of things. But we're just waiting for the right situation for someone to come add something over on that side of campus.
Gotcha.
It just hasn't presented itself yet.
Okay, awesome. Well, that was another question that keeps coming up, is what's going in that space? But it sounds like we don't know yet.
Still
That's
working.
the short answer.
Gotcha.
We used to have a lot of questions at Fauquier, I know, about downstairs, but we do, we are working on that. And that might come up at the on-site one tomorrow a little bit more too.
One of the great things at Fauquier too is we've had kind of our feeding, like our food program. And
Yeah.
so we have stations with things like ramen. And we also now have fresh fruit, which is really
Mhm.
exciting. So in addition to the vending machines, if folks at Fauquier want to grab fresh fruit, it is available down in the Lobe. And honestly, at Middletown, if you're pressed and you're hungry, that's what our food pantry is for. So it's in the Trio office, which is kind of at the back of Fairfax Hall. And there's a refrigerator there. If you want to grab lunch, that is literally what the food pantry is there for. You can go in there and get food. So don't hesitate to do that.
Yeah, Fauquier is a little different from that, from the vending perspective. It's almost on the other, it's a completely different situation than we got at Middletown. Middletown is a market problem. The market doesn't really support having a full establishment like the Subway or something. But over at Fauquier, the challenge that you run into there is finding vendors that would go in there because there's so many options close to campus, like, in terms of fast food and that sort of thing. So it's a completely different puzzle to unpack over there, but we are planning on doing something with the bookstore, and they're definitely going to expand their offerings once we move that bookstore over.
Mhm. Okay, Chris, what else did you have?
I don't want to ask all of these because I'm sure you're going to get asked these at the in-person,
Okay.
but
Whatever you think.
let's see. One that consistently comes up at your forums, Kim, is the increased presence in the sub from our police.
Right.
I know, like at the beginning of the semester, it's pretty good, and then it kind of dwindles.
Mhm.
And I think students, that's always something that they bring up at about this time every year. So I don't know if that's just something like us just saying, can somebody come over a little more frequently just to check things out? I haven't heard of any incidents occurring, but that's just consistently like something we hear the SGA, if there are things they do, it comes up.
Yeah.
That came
So
up
we-
also with the Amber's dessert with the D
Yeah.
forum.
Right. Yeah, and I think to your point, Chris, it was addressed, and then I think things just got a little lax with the, just making frequent trips. So we've addressed that with our chief of police to ensure that they are going over, and so I think you'll see that. We'll just stay on top of it a little bit more to make sure students are seeing that presence.
Yeah, he's been sending out reminders to his staff too, to make sure that whenever they get an opportunity or the moment presents itself, they can walk over there and just kind of do a walkthrough and just have an increased presence so that they're
Right.
visible.
Awesome.
We'll give them all a Fitbit so they'll want to get their steps in.
And I guess this one would be for Caroline. I've talked to a couple students that had asked me specifically about timely care, the psychiatric piece.
Yes.
How does that one
How
work?
does that work? Well, so we are, just from an institutional standpoint, we are allowed about 2%, about 90 sessions a year for our students, which we're not close to meeting at this point. But so if a student wants psychiatric care, the best thing to do is to sign up for the counseling. So they'll get probably matched with a counselor, usually within 48 hours, and then they're seeing someone that week. And then the counselor and the student can talk about medication, and then they'll reach out. There are two of us that are allowed to refer to psychiatry, and that's Amber Foltz and myself. And so Timely Care reaches out to us and says, is it okay if so-and-so can be referred for psychiatric services? We have not said no yet, and don't plan to, because we think that 90 visits a year should cover all of our needs. Now, granted, that's 90 full visits a year. And usually with medication management, you are going to need to meet with a psychiatrist pretty regularly, particularly at first, as you're figuring out dosage and what you're taking to make sure that it's appropriate. Also, too, with psychiatry, they do not do what we would call like narcotics. So if you've ever heard like Xanax or benzodiazepines, they're not going to give those out. Or for example, for ADHD, they're not going to prescribe Ritalin. But what they will do is work with the student to find a provider locally that they can refer out to, so that student would be able to get anything that is considered a controlled substance. locally. We have had a lot of success. Actually, we've had already more than 6 students receive psychiatric care, and we're really excited about it because often it's hard to get in with a psychiatrist. And sometimes a general practitioner might not have the psychiatric expertise beyond garden variety anxiety and depression to be able to really manage medication in a way that students might need if they're suffering. So we're thrilled about the psychiatric piece because we know here in our region, it is really hard to get an appointment and can take up to 3 months to get an appointment. So psychiatrists are getting folks in within the week. So it's just, I would highly encourage anyone who either wants counseling or thinks they might want medication to go ahead and sign up for the counseling visits, and they'll help them there through that.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Well, Lizzie or Madison, do either of you have any questions for Kim or Craig or Caroline?
Well, feel free to put them in the chat.
I was gonna say I could take up like the next hour, but like
If not, we have, well, and Madison and Lizzie, are you all just online students? I'm just curious. I mean, you can put in the chat or thumbs up. Are you just 100% online, or are you on campus students as well? I guess I should just ask one question. Are you 100% online?
I'm mainly online. I have 3 online classes, and then I have 1 hybrid class. So I go in every other week.
I got you.
No, she's saying.
Madison.
Madison's online. Yeah. Okay.
Well, with
Well, we-
online, can I add one more thing? The foundation got 49 laptops donated from Navy Federal Credit Union. And these are laptops, they're about 4 years old. So they're not old, but they're not brand new, and they're going directly to students. So actually, if anybody is interested in either a loaner laptop, those are new and maintained by our IT department through the library, or if you have a need and need a laptop to have at home that you can share with your family, go through the single stop office and let them know you are interested. So we'll be picking up, so the computers have arrived, so we'll be distributing them in the next couple of months. So we're very excited about that.
Mhm.
Oh, and Kim, I don't know. I had a student come in when you were speaking at the beginning. How are we celebrating the Laurel Ridge switchover? Have you talked about that?
Just talked about the switchover. So yeah, we're going to be celebrating on actually the day of the switchover. So June 2nd, we're going to have We Are Laurel Ridge Day. And so we'll have a message and we'll have cake on our campus. We're going to have flag raisings, new flags getting put up at all 3 locations. We'll have some swag to give out for whatever students are here and to folks. And then when we have the new student orientation, when we do that, then in August, we'll do quite a bit more to launch the new name with new students or returning students. And we'll have more stuff that has Laurel Ridge on it. You'll see more swag available and more excitement about it. So we'll be doing some stuff over the starting in June through the summer, and then obviously starting our first year as Laurel Ridge. So look for new,
Exciting.
I don't know, look for new swag, new freebies.
The rest of these I will save for the in-person.
Okay.
But Lizzie, Madison, if there are any questions you guys have, just type it in the chat, or you can email after the facts. Lizzie, I think you had your hands full.
Yeah, understand.
And Madison is actually one of our new ambassadors. So I think she's just kind of getting the layout of everything.
Well, happy to
Hey,
have.
Chris, I just, while we're on here and we have
Yeah.
a second, because it doesn't get, the opportunity doesn't come up much, but I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you reaching out and working with these food trucks and working with the police and setting them up and doing all that. That's a lot of positive vibes and a lot of positivity around that. And so people appreciate it, but I appreciate you sort of working out with them and
Yeah,
reaching out to
totally.
them and interfacing and all that. It's not, I don't think people appreciate how sort of chaotic it can be to sort of just work through all that, but I appreciate it. And so
I
it's a
didn't think
good-
it would be either until I started doing it. Coordinating that stuff's
it's time
crazy.
consuming, isn't it? Yeah, I see you out there with them and sort of reaching out to them and soliciting vendors and that sort of thing. It's time consuming. So, but it's been a real benefit to the campus. I think people are happy about it.
Totally.
So it's been nice.
It- Students
Appreciate
and staff. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen lines, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, and even the other week when it was raining, that was the real test. And
Yep.
people still went out in the rain. So
Yep.
I thought, that's a good sign.
I'm looking forward to, we're going to have the Maddie's ice cream over the summer.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, did you all see Madison has used Timely Care?
Yes,
That's
great.
all.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad. I hope students use that.
Our numbers are showing. In fact, we're considered one of the better users in the state, like strongest use.
I just hope so.
Nice.
Everybody needs that. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly.
And the health coaching, there's health coaching that you can sign up for, nutrition and exercise. It's amazing. There's so many great things.
Mhm.
Excellent. Thank you. Spread the word.
That's the way it gets around. Not because we send emails usually.
No, it's not.
We
We
need
wish.
you all. That's why we need these ambassadors. All right. Well, thank you all for coming out. And
Thank you, Kim.
yeah, and I'll be at the Fauquier campus tomorrow and at Middletown campus on Wednesday. So if any of your friends want to come out, and there, I'm sorry to you all, but there they get lunch. So, you know, it's food, free food. So maybe, or if you're on campus that day, you know, come get a free lunch. Listen to all this again. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for setting it up.
Yep. Thank you.